Good morning. So where does Paul get this idea of being rooted and grounded in love? Well, there are 61 verses in the Bible about roots. We as Christians are like trees. We are rooted in our faith and grow our roots through our relationship with God. In Luke chapter 8, Jesus gives the parable of the sower. In the parable, the sower throws seed on rock, in thorns, and on good soil. The only seed that produces healthy plants is the one thrown on the good soil. This is because it is allowed to grow strong roots and be grounded. In the book of Job, Job faces many trials and tribulations. The Lord tests him to prove his faithfulness. Job endured these trials and stood tall because of his deep-rooted faith. In Job chapter 14, verses 7 through 9, it says, "There is hope for a tree. If it is cut down, it will sprout again. Its shoots will not die. If its roots grow old in the ground, and its stump starts to die in the soil, the smell of water makes it thrive and produce twigs like a sapling." I know I will have to face many trials and tribulations in my life as well. As I transition into college this coming fall, I understand the choices that are ahead of me. In the hectic world on campus, a person can be pulled in many different directions. But because I am rooted in my faith and grounded in God's love, I know I can withstand the trials that await me. I will put my trust in the Lord, just like in Jeremiah chapter 17, verses 7 and 8. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. These verses are the description of the two greatest men I've known. Both my grandfathers were deacons in their respective churches and were men of deep faith. They were rooted in love and grounded by their families. Both trusted the Lord in their battles with cancer, and while both lost their bodily battle, they beat death in the end by leaving behind incredible legacies of love and kindness. Their legacies live on through me, and I hope to leave behind a legacy that would make them proud. Just a few weeks ago, while on spring break, my cousins joined my family at the beach for a day. I could have found my friends that day, but instead I decided to spend a day with my younger cousins to remind myself what grounds me. I spent the day playing in the sand with them, and it was extremely rejuvenating and enriching as I moved towards this change in my life. But I not only wanted to have fun with them and recenter myself, I wanted to begin to leave a legacy with them. I want them to look at me and see a strong-rooted man of faith. I want them to think of Psalm chapter 1, verse 3, when they think of me. He is like a tree planted beside streams of water that bears its fruit in season and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever he does prospers. I strive to follow the example that Jesus left us, the one that my grandfathers followed, one rooted and grounded in love. I'll leave you with a story. During my childhood, there was a big oak tree in our front yard. The oak was around 60 feet tall. It was about 5 feet in diameter. One day, Hurricane Ivan had blown up into Birmingham, and we were having severe storms. The oak fell under the great strain and made a horrible mess of our yard, crushing not only our mailbox, but our across-the-street neighbors, too. It appeared so strong. How could it have fallen? While in New York City over the Christmas break, my family and I visited the 9/11 memorial. While there are many unbelievable stories of strength in the face of such tragedy, one struck me in particular. In the courtyard between the World Trade Centers, there were some small trees planted. After the attack, the recovery crews found all the trees utterly destroyed except one. The tree was badly burned and broken, but was still alive. The tree was nursed back to health and given the nickname the survivor tree. It stands on ground zero today as a sign of resilience, survival, and rebirth. So how could such a small tree, not even a fourth the size of the oak tree in my yard, survive such a disaster? Upon inspection of the oak, after it had fallen, we discovered that its roots had been eaten away by chipmunks and were rotten. But the survivor tree's survival was attributed to its deep, solid roots and the great care it was given. While the oak may have appeared to be sturdy, it was not solidly grounded. This reminds us that we as children of God are only as strong as what grounds us. We must be rooted and grounded in God's love and stay strong in our faith, so that when we face the storms in our lives, we won't be blown over like the oak, but instead we'll stand strong in the face of evil, like the survivor tree. And I'm so thankful to have been a part and have grown up in a church like IPC, which prioritizes teaching its youth how to be grounded and rooted in God's love. So please join me in prayer, using the words from Psalm 80, verses 14 and 15. Return, God of hosts, look down from heaven and see. Take care of this vine, the root your right hand has planted, the shoot that you made strong for yourself. Amen.